Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today guys, I think this is a best of 3 game. I'm not entirely sure because where I got the replays from, they weren't actually very explicit in it. So it could just be a couple of best of 1s, but we will wait and see what happens. Now, let's introduce these two players. Well, in the top left position, as the green Protoss, we have Capoch, and in the lower right position, we do have DIMAGA as the red Zerg player. Of course, DIMAGA, very, very well known. Capoch, I've cast quite a few of his games recently, because I got a big replay pack of his, and this is actually where this game is from. So, we'll wait and see, again, what happens. I'm going to call it a best of 3, though, just because I can, pretty much, and I have no evidence otherwise. And obviously they're not in ladder colours, so that is the only other indication that this probably isn't just 2 ladder games or 3 ladder games, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Obviously we do have the pylon coming down here, and, well, what are we going to see? Well, obviously a fast expansion from Capoch, which is the right move because Ahana, easy to take that expansion, may even be Nexus first. DIMAGA should go for a 14 or 15 pull into a kind of 16-ish hatch into a third base at about 420. So it's really quite structured on what's going to go on, and that's a good thing in my opinion. Openings in ZVP are pretty solid, which is good in the sense that you know what to do as a player, bad in the sense that it makes it very difficult to cast them because you're really quite confident what's happening. There's a 15 pull out of DIMAGA there. Looking up, I think we're going to see definitely a Nexus first, just because there's enough money to throw down the Forge. We've not seen that yet, so obviously that would either be a massive mistake in the build order, or it's going to be a Nexus first, which I think is perfectly fine going Nexus first here. Capoch does seem to like really trying to delay this natural base, so we may even see pylons thrown down, but either way, we should see a long bit of delaying, but no, DIMAGA manages to get that like a complete boss, and the Forge does actually go down there for Capoch, so that is a really, in my opinion, quite an unrefined build. He could have done that a bit better, but we'll wait and see what happens. Obviously, he's going to get down the Nexus any second, so bang, there we go, 17 Nexus, that's fine. Looking up for DIMAGA, well, he's not got too much to worry about for about the next minute or so. He's just got to build drones and get a bit of scouting around with those 2 Zerglings. 2 Zerglings fine. You send them down here just to basically look around, make sure there's no pylons for cannon rushes, etc. Pick off that probe, make sure there's no proxy pylons or anything like that. Obviously, this Overlord now getting some good scanning information, sees the Nexus, sees the Forge is finished, knows there's a Forge first, knows there's therefore a threat of cannon rushes. But to be honest, with those 2 Zerglings out, he knows he's pretty much safe down here. The Zerglings should just run down, pick off that probe, and take a good look around. Now, Capoch hiding that probe right in the corner. Is it going to go unnoticed, or will DIMAGA do a good job of scouting? We'll wait and see. And I don't know if he has seen it. I think he did. Or did he? No, he didn't. That is, again, a tiny little mistake, guys, but why you should really make sure you go absolutely everywhere around. The hatchery does go down, and of course, the probe then does reveal itself. Those Zerglings on their way back, so DIMAGA makes up for that slight slip-up that could have got him cannon rushed. The Zerglings spot everything, and unfortunately, the probe will not be able to get away any more aggression. So, looking here, of course, the Nexus nearly done for the Protoss player. He's got his second gas coming up. No gas yet for DIMAGA. That should come down at about 40-50 supply. And, yeah, so we're now really into the staple of the game. Let me say, guys, if you do like my casting, please subscribe. But most importantly, the thing I'm pushing at the moment is if you've got any games you want me to cast all the way from Bronze to GM, then send them through to sc2england@hotmail.co.uk. Tell me why they're awesome, and if I agree, then I will give them a cast and upload them as a subscriber game, which I want to do more of. So please make sure you start getting those in. That would be great. And that means you. Yes, you. That specific person I'm talking to right this second who's watching. Anyway, looking around the map, what else do we have? Well, obviously the Cybercore coming down. The Zealot wasn't skipped, which I think is a good move. It can be very, very dangerous skipping Zealots and things like that. So I think that's all fairly good. In terms of the worker count, 29 apiece. Basically, the first 2 gas coming down, and that basically means that DIMAGA getting him slightly earlier than some players do. He's got those, well, mass droning right now, so he's going to start pulling ahead really, really quick. His third base is just finished as well. That's going to really ramp up his ability to drone up. He's aiming for about the kind of 70 to 80 drone mark is really good. Different players get different amounts just depending on how they're feeling. And looking around here, obviously we've got Warp Gate Tech coming out, the +1 coming out. DIMAGA has got an Overlord in a really nice spot, actually. You can see that there's only no gas at the natural. I don't know if he has managed to scout any of the main. No, he hasn't, so obviously he knows that it's going to be a maximum 2 gas, which doesn't narrow down what can be happening. We've got, well, 2 more gateways in the robotic facility coming down. Now, obviously, we do have the first sentry out. So that's still leaving things open. It depends what we can do. Judging by the fact that it's 4 gates in a robo, a big thing you've got to be concerned about, obviously, is the Immortal Sentry all in. But there goes down a 5th gateway, which makes me think that it's not going to be super aggressive. Also, the fact that there aren't more gases down yet, again, not a huge turn. DIMAGA doing the right things, though, getting down the Roach Warren. It's a good timing on that Roach Warren. When did that go down? At roughly about 6:45, so good timing on that. Needs to get the Evolution Chamber at the same time as well. And that's always an important thing to do. The 3rd and 4th gas now chucked down. Of course, DIMAGA's Overlord can see that. That is important scouting information to get the Warp Prison coming down. And we've also got the Sentry. More Sentries in production. Obviously, that Warp Gate tech should be nearly done. It's a couple of seconds away. DIMAGA got quite a few Zerglings sitting around here now. And that's one probe. Where's that going? He's going to try and chuck down a pylon. Will it get scouted, though? Yes is the short answer to the question. That means great denial of that proxy pylon. But DIMAGA, oh my god, he didn't notice this. And this is this 3rd time he's misnoticing something like that, which you just cannot afford to do at the top level of play. You need to know exactly what's going on, exactly as it happens. These Zerglings are going to try and engage that Zealot, but obviously the Zealot's backed against the wall, so he's going to engage quite cost effectively there, which is always good, but does get picked off in the end. And now here comes a big warp in of Zealots. That is a big threat on its own, because, well, this 3rd base could take a lot of damage, but enough Roaches out to defend this quite comfortably, in my opinion. So DIMAGA, just playing it like a beast, trying to play twice defensively. That's going to force all of these Zealots back for the moment. Obviously, the Zealots were the bigger threat just due to the fact that there was only 2 gas. These Zerglings do have speed. They're just going to scout around. They'll spot that pylon and will pick it off. DIMAGA's obviously Roaches. Roaches engage so well against Zealots, and it's quite obvious that those Zealots were never going to get away, so might as well make them engage. But some good kiting from DIMAGA, only losing 1 Roach there. So engaging very, very cost effectively. Meanwhile, obviously the 1st Immortal on its way out. We do have a drop in the main base, and this is doing some nice damage actually, and all of DIMAGA's units are way out of position. This double sentry is going to be able to prevent reinforcements for just such a long time. That is going to be huge problems, and of course 2 more sentries there now. You can just literally chain force field that ramp, and this is incredibly annoying to deal with, because really, unless you scout it, there's no way to deal with it. What you do to scout is obviously have Overlord spread out just to try and get some information. A lot of these Roaches getting picked up. Still just the chain force fields going down. Still 2 more remaining. That's at least another 30 seconds there. A good lift, though. And DIMAGA doing the right thing, trying to pick up the sentries as quickly as he can. Needs to get that another force field in, and he does manage to do it. But unfortunately, a lot of those sentries getting picked off. That is a bit of a problem, because he needs that energy ASAP. He's just getting more and more units up here, more sentries warping in. Still another 2 force fields sitting there. So to be honest, DIMAGA's starting to get into some big problems. Now, Maze hasn't missed more, but he's getting up an awful lot of spine crawlers, which is precisely what he needs to be doing right now. Again, those spine crawlers will just allow him to do it, and now there's a tiny gap there. That force field wasn't quite on the money. That's going to cause some big problems. 1 sentry gets picked off there, but of course we do now have more Zealots and Stalkers getting warped in. We've got more sentries getting warped in as well, so this push seems to be pretty much never ending. A lot of drones getting involved in the fight up here. I'm just keeping an eye on the minimap. DIMAGA taking a 4th base behind this, which is exactly what he should be doing, but of course is being built behind this as well. The Capoch, he's trying to basically get some more Immortals out, but a couple of Roaches do manage to get up in. You can't afford to have bad force fields in this kind of strategy. They've all got to be on the money. Every force field counts. A lot of Roaches getting picked off here. A lot of these units getting picked off as well, trying to get up the ramp. So many Roaches there. DIMAGA pretty helpless at the moment in terms of what he can do. 16 workers have been killed, but of course, these spine crawlers moving forward will just allow everything to be defended quite comfortably. So I wouldn't worry too much. The Stalker's able to pick off a Queen, though, and also focusing down that Roach one. There's no vision map on the high ground. That is going to be very frustrating. That force field did just managed to go down in time. That was just so ridiculously close. More sentries warping in. Of course, all the tech cannons start getting taken down now. Obviously, quite a large number of Stalkers ending up in the base at the moment. And of course, those Stalkers will be able to deal with the spine crawlers quite effectively. I'm surprised DIMAGA hasn't actually gone for some kind of counter-attack, which could be effective. Of course, we've got a handful of Roaches managing to get up now. But they're getting picked up very, very quickly. You manage to get 1 sentry, but the rest getting taken down almost instantaneously. Roach 1, obviously, is in reproduction for DIMAGA. He can't get any more Roaches at the moment. That's a bit of a problem. He has got his 4th base up, though. And of course, he is managing somehow to hold his lair up, and also that spawning pool. So that is pretty good going, to be fair. Looking back at Capoch's base, he's just got 4 Immortals there and pretty much nothing else. He's getting up very, very little else indeed. Of course, this push in the main, though, is just consistently going. The macro hatch taken down. And of course, just a handful of Roaches up here. More Roaches in production, though. And a little gapper yet again. And of course, Capoch, you can't afford to have anything but perfect force fields. And Roaches do manage to get around. Of course, vision being given for the Roaches on the low ground. A lot of those sentries getting picked off right now, which of course is a big win and will, of course, hopefully allow those force fields to start failing. But for the moment, this has got to be the longest time I've ever seen this type of play go on for. Usually, the Protoss player either wins or loses. But basically, it looks almost never-ending, and of course these Stalker numbers are ever increasing higher and higher. DIMAGA getting nothing but an awful lot of roaches. In terms of the worker count, he's behind by quite a few workers, so obviously that is less than ideal. The only real advantage is, of course, that Capoch doesn't have his third base, whereas DIMAGA has his fourth up, so he is 2 bases up. Those spine crawlers are trying to get focused down, and of course now it's fallen. These roaches are going to get cleaned up very, very simply. Yet more force fields coming down. One of those force fields not quite on the money, and DIMAGA now just deciding to go for the counter-attack, it would appear, and that is the right move to make because he's lost his lair, he's lost his main base. What is the point of trying to defend this? I just kind of wish he made the decision earlier. The big problem is, and there's no real point watching this anymore because it's all dead, is that there is an awful lot of immortals up there. An awful lot. There is a grand total of 7 immortals sitting right there. They are going to wreck those roaches. And of course, the damage is just going to be absolutely insane. And as you can see, DIMAGA, he's just losing so many roaches so quickly. He can't even focus it down. And there is the GG. And Capoch played that really, really well, actually. And I like the fact that he didn't try and rush anything. I think that was probably the smartest move he made, just by playing it very, very cautiously, very safe, very strategic. And there's a lot that a lot of people can learn from that. Now, guys, if you did enjoy the cast, please do subscribe, leave a cool comment, like the video, etc. And well, most importantly, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you again tomorrow for yet another new game. Bye for now.